here is a rubric, everything that we're looking for, as always, kind of like I said in the previous video. What's going to be different today is that we've got so much repetition in here that I think I'm going to just tackle the entire page, be pretty quick about it, so we don't have to parse things multiple times. To begin, Qualis Pater, Talis Filius, Talis Spiritus Sanctus, in creatus Pater, in creatus Filius, in creatus Spiritus Sanctus, immensus Pater, immensus Filius, immensus Spiritus Sanctus, aeternus Pater, aeternus Filius, aeternus Spiritus Sanctus, et tamen not tres aeterni, sed unus aeternus. Of course, this is going to continue to go through each of these on the next page, but we'll get to that when we get that. Qualis is, of course, an interesting word that, interestingly enough, I keep saying the word interesting, starting this over. Qualis is our very first word because as we look at this, we don't have any verbs. This means that we might be supposed to think of the word as did, not think of the word. Qualis is our first word, and as you can note from looking at this, there is no verb. This might mean that we are supposed to assume a form of est in there. Qualis could either be a nominative singular adjective or a genitive singular adjective. Pater, Filius, Spiritus Sanctus, we can see that all of these are nominatives. No need to parse any of them. Again, we already know them, and we will throughout the rest of this Athanasian Creed. But Qualis, we're going to need to try our two different options for each of these. It could be the Father is such sort, the Son is such sort, the Holy Spirit is such sort. Note that it starts with Qualis and continues with Talis and Talis. I will probably put a more extensive note explaining that right about a few seconds ago. So, that is our first way of translating this. The second way of translating this is Father is of such sort, Son is of such sort, Holy Spirit is of such sort. That one doesn't make quite as much sense in English, so I'm going to treat all of these as nominatives. And there we know. Then we have in creatus Pater, in creatus Filius, in creatus Spiritus Sanctus. Now as we take a look at these three adjectives, note that they are all in the nominative singular. This further supports the idea of putting these as nominative singulars as well. Normally, a verb of being would not connect a nominative to a genitive. Now it can happen, I think it has happened somewhere where I read once before, but not normal. And these just support that idea further. No need to parse. And now on to 9. Immensus Pater, immensus Filius, immensus Spiritus Sanctus. US in all three of these, so we know it's going to be the same form again, and no need to parse. However, note with this one that this is not a obviously English derivative word. So in creatus, uncreated is very similar, it's just the I changed into a U. And in is quite frequently used in Latin and sometimes in English to negate something. Immensus here is a little bit different. We do have the word immense, but what really does that mean? This means unmeasurable, unending, and 3 or 4 other things that I have suddenly forgotten, but you get the idea. now we move on to number 10. Aeternus Pater, Aeternus Filius, Aeternus Spiritus Sanctus. All of them also have US here. Again, no need to parse. And this one, as we know from seeing this word before, means eternal or unending. So since we have eternal here, unmeasurable is probably the better option. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that. It is a good idea to make sure that you know the meaning of all of your words, all the meanings of your words before you eliminate the specific one and move on. And now moving on to 11, which is technically the start of the next idea in the creed, but the way that it worked out for text, it's going to be part of this. But we will need to understand, as you take a look at the beginning of the next video, that et tamen non tres aeterni sed unus aeternus is part of the next thought. This thought builds up to this thought, and so on it goes throughout the rest of the creed. Et, of course, means and. Tamen means however, or nevertheless, or yet. My brain is blanking as it always does. 1 second. Nevertheless. And I'm back. I was essentially correct in the meaning. Those are our two primary meanings of this one. There are others, of course. Non, of course, means not. To take a look ahead, we do not have a verb still, so we should assume a form of est again. And nevertheless, and still, there. Tres aeterni, note that these are going to be plural. Are not. Tres tria, this word is plural by the very nature of its meaning, but it also has plural form with that es. This is going to be nominative, plural. And as we take a look at aeterni, we have that long I right there. Therefore, masculine. As we saw beforehand with masculine in all three of these. So that all fits together. And there are not 3 eternals said, but unus, nominative, singular, masculine, aeternus, we've seen that before, but 1 eternal. And there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me, plebeian. See you later.
What? You're still awake? Why are you still here then? You should be reading a book. Or if not reading, you should watch one of these other videos. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. See you next week.